Here on the PocketBot channel, we also want to showcase some bots that tie in well with your Legend class collection, but who in their own right are not considered Legend scale figures. They're simply bigger, not that easy to fit in your pocket, hence the category.
Can I bag that for you?
Yes, you can! Today we're looking at Polar Claw, another classic Beast Wars figure. And I love this figure. I can wholeheartedly admit that straight at the beginning of the review. This thing is awesome. He has a couple of gimmicks. We'll get into all of that. I do have to say, I got this figure second hand. So I don't have a box or instructions or anything with it. But as with a lot of the classic toys, they're very intuitive. Now, before we start looking at this guy, let's do a quick couple size comparisons. Here he is with the recent Transformers Heroes, Classic Heroes Optimus Primal. That's a whole mouthful, but there you go. And let's also put Core Class Rat Trap in there. And that's it for scale. He is not a basic class figure, so technically not Legend class, but he was a deluxe figure, which kind of scales like modern day Voyager figures. I'll show off in robot mode what I mean. Alright, let's get these guys out of here again, so we can have a good look at Polar Claw himself. And if this mold looks familiar, it's been used a couple of times. They've also used it for Survive. And then it had a sort of a grayish fur. And I think that was a BotCon exclusive, Barbarian or Grizzly 1. And then he had more of a very dark brown color scheme. But the version I have is Polar Claw. The reason I have this guy is because he was in the 2006 Beast Wars comics. And spoiler for myself, I think he's also in the newer IDW Beast Wars comics. But I haven't read them that far yet. I am reading them, but haven't gotten to him being in there. But there you go. But yeah. He's a polar bear, obviously. That's him from all sides. Looks pretty clean at the bottom as well. It's really only the back where you can see the robot legs hiding in his bear legs that gives much away. Some of the gimmicks are in his legs. Well, his front paws, so to say. But it's easier to show that off in robot mode. He does have one other gimmick. And that's in here. And that comes into play when you pull the hind legs backwards. Then, haha, he opens his mouth and these big fangs come out. And that is pretty cool. And you can actually put him in that mode as well. There we go. Attack mode. But yeah, pretty cool. Now, to transform him, because everything else, all the other gimmicks, weaponry, it's all incorporated. So, to transform him is also pretty easy. So let's do that so we can have a look at him in bot mode. And by the way, you can see all this texture here. It's very nicely done. Alright, let's get him transformed. And there we are in robot mode. Pretty cool transformation, in my opinion. He does end up with these paws, front paws on his back, but they are part of the gimmicks still to come, so bear with me. Shoulders are ball jointed, elbows are ball jointed, wrists hinge in and out. Legs are, well, they're on a ball joint, but you can't really move them out because stuff gets in the way. Does have the knee articulation because due to transformation, and some toe articulation as well, but no ankle rocker or anything. Let's have a quick look at his noggin. There he is. Pretty cool. And they also came with their mutant head. So all you have to do is turn it round. And there is Polar Claw's mutant face. I think in the comic he only appeared with this face. At least in the 2006 IDW comic. And I think in the newer one he appears with this face. So that's all fine in my book. Not a lot of paint apps in this mode, but a lot of nice sculpted detail. So you don't really miss the paint applications here. Now, as far as the gimmicks go, let's pull this claw over his shoulder. Because it's a little bit like a shoulder-mounted cannon. Has a little lever there. And what we can do when we pull that lever backwards, a claw shoots out. Pretty cool. And you can actually see this gimmick in action in the Beast Wars Neo cartoon, but on the Survive version of this mold. He uses it when he's training some of Big Convoy's young ones. So yeah, there's that one. But you can also just hinge it out of the way. And then the other one. There we go. Also has a little button on top. And I'll try and do it on camera. Just push the button. Come on. Oh, sorry, got a little stuck. There we go. It just shoots something off. We will have a look at what it shot off. Because that's Polar Claw's little buddy. This little bat figure. Which is sort of like a little drone. And it just automorphs because you can see the springs on it. All you need to do, hinge all this in. He won't stay together. Ah, he will stay together a little bit, I guess. Yeah. There you go. There's his claw. And it just attaches with the spring-loaded mechanism so you can fire it off. And of course, when you fire it off, it automorphs into this little bat. Right. For some robot size comparisons. I already told you he's what we currently call a Voyager class. So let's get that out of the way first. So here he is next to Hasbro's Kingdom Maximal Grimlock, who is of course a repaint of their Dinobot mold. But that's about the size that this guy is, which is pretty cool, and that's why you can incorporate him into the modern day Beast Wars collection, but also into a Legends collection, because you need some figures to be a little bit bigger than others. So let's bring in some Legends. So here he is again with Core Class Rat Trap and with Transform Elements Scorponok. And obviously the guy is bigger, so in itself he's not Legend scale, but I think he works well. If you've read the 2006 comic, he is, when he takes form, so to say, He kind of scares off and battles. I think it's is it Spitter, the frog one, and he towers over him. And in my book, the frog guy is about rat trap size. So for me, this works fine with my Legend class Beast Wars figures. Survive fits in nicely, as does the Kingdom Grimlock. And if you want to see for even bigger, then I can bring in Kingdom Megatron, and Survive is a little bit smaller than Kingdom Megatron. So I hope that gives a bit of an overview of the size that Survive, not Survive, Polar Claw sits in, and how he can work within your Beast Wars / Legend class collection. For me, this is a definite recommend. If you can pick him up from somewhere, secondhand or boxed, he's a good one to have around. Be aware that you have his bat accessory, because without it, the robot mode doesn't suffer, but the bear mode definitely does, because he would be missing a paw. Besides that, I think you should be aware that the white could, of course, have some yellowing to it. But not to be funny, but we've seen that current Hasbro figures, some of the newest ones, also seem to have issue with plastic discoloring. So yeah, this guy holds up pretty well. If you can find him in any of the 3 versions, go grab him. He's awesome. He's fun. The gimmicks work really well. If you're interested to know, because it looks like he has a button on his head, but that's actually the mechanism that goes into his belly and then sort of hooks onto a mechanism in his pelvis. And that's why when you move his hind legs, this sets off the jaw mechanism in the bear head. So there you go. Polar Claw, Maximal, Beast Wars Neo, IDW comic. Lots of fun. Looks cool. Go grab him if you can. That's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next review. Ape out!